Hey guys, what's going on? I'm going to talk about some of Nate Bear's recent trades. He's definitely been winning a lot more recently, and I thought we'd go through some of those. So, for you guys that are new to Nate Bear's Profit Surge Trader or thinking about buying it, there's a review that I wrote right here on the screen. I'll put a link in the description below, it'll be the first link. And you can go and check out this review, and it goes through all of basically what the strategy is, a lot of the results. I put as many of the results as I can in there as possible. It's not a complete track record anymore, it was for a while, but I've been falling more and more behind on these. So you'll find a ton of videos, including also a interview that I did with Nate Bear that went pretty well. It was quite interesting, so I'd encourage you to watch that as well. So it's all on this page that you're looking at right here. It's my review from Nate Bear Profit Surge Trader. Very high level, quick overview for people completely new. Nate Bear turned 37,000 into $2.7 million over the course of about, I think, 4 years. And he did that with a very similar strategy that he uses for this. So he uses the TTM squeeze a lot. He uses patterns, technical stuff. Basically, he's just really good at what he does. And in quarter one this year, he barely had any losses. Quarter two's definitely been a lot messier. But hopefully people are sticking with it, because one thing that keeps coming up is basically this idea that people have to stick to the strategy that they've tested, and this is definitely a winning strategy. So definitely something that, you know, if you've given up on this because of like a few consecutive losses, you can see starting to win again. And it'd be pretty bad if you just missed out on that because you were put off by 3, 4, or 5 losses in a row. You got to position yourself just right. Make sure you're using position sizes that are, you know, a few percent of your account. You know, don't go too heavy on any one trade, and it'll make it psychologically more easy to follow these trades. So definitely check out this full review. And basically, he sends out alerts every Monday, and sometimes there's bonus alerts, so you can get 2 or 3 trades pretty easily on Mondays. They can last a day or up to a week or two as well. So it's definitely a big mixture. One thing I want to bring to your attention is one way I've been making a lot of money recently is by selling options, and this is a free course that some people would charge thousands of dollars for. Lance from thetatraders.com and myself put it together for you guys. I'll leave a link in the description. You can check it out. It's basically how you can win 90 or even more. Actually, my win rate's probably higher than 90%. And it's basically a video course with some interesting stuff in there. So definitely check it out. All you have to do is join my email list, and it will get sent out to you automatically. If it doesn't, I always put my email in the description below, so you can email me and say, hey, where's my how to learn how to win 90% of your trades in 90 seconds course, and I'll just send it to you. So definitely check that out as well. Alright, let's get started with the actual trades. So if we go to PowerPoint here, what I did was I took some screenshots of the Profit Surge Trader dashboard to try and make this a bit easier to see. And so I only talk about trades that have actually closed, because I don't want people to be getting the information for free. It's not fair to Nate or to other paying subscribers. So if you see trades here that have, you know, aren't closed or whatever, that's the reason. And so Burl was one, and we played this before. It was an earnings winner, and it was, you know, it's a fantastic earnings winner again, going with a call for next week, he said, small size. So you kind of knew that this had the potential to pull back, which is exactly what it did. It did this before on us when we played this months ago as well. And so it's a very volatile stock. And given that the options he picked were only 2 weeks out, so this is on June 13th. We've got the day up here, June 13th. He bought these June 21st, so not long at all, 2 weeks. 235 calls near 197. And he definitely said he's going small, because I think he's been doing a lot of this where he adds to the positions. So that's something that you have to be comfortable with if you're just going to copy him. You've got to be comfortable with averaging in. It's just his trading style. Some people love it, some people hate it, because you can average down to nothing, right, essentially. So you've got to be careful. But his strategy does win in the long run, so sometimes they go down and you lose a lot, and sometimes they go up and you make a lot. So it's kind of a mixture. Anyway, June 17th is shown here. He added to Burrell at almost half of his original price. So he was in on these calls, these 235 option calls at 197. And this thing dropped all the way down to 115. I'll show you the chart in a minute. It's kind of interesting. And so he averaged now 3 contracts at 140. I was going to wait for the Profit Surge Trader session at noon today, but Burrell looks like it wants to move here, so I'm going to go ahead and just get this going now. And so what happened next was quite interesting. So we go to the chart right here. This is a 5-minute chart of Burrell. This area right here on the 13th was where he bought those 235 calls initially. And you can see there was some success. They went up quite a lot, and then they had this huge drop the next day, which is pretty disappointing. People will be freaking out at this. Some people might have added around here, which would have been a pretty good idea. But what happened next was it started to show strength, and you can see this pattern. You see this quite a lot. You'll fill kind of the gap almost, not a gap, but you know what I mean. You'll start to see it come back up to the support, to the resistance levels up here again. That's exactly what it started to show, like a big gap up here in this candle. And you can say, okay, well, this will probably continue back up to the top of the sort of box-shaped pattern. So nothing really spectacular. What was interesting here is he added right here. You can see the price wasn't much different from where his initial position was. The difference being is it's now the 17th, so there's only 3 or 4 days left on these contracts. So time decay had taken the price down from his original buy of 197 all the way down to 115 when he added. So you didn't quite get the same like price level on these calls, underlying stock levels, but also they indicated it really contributed to these as well, so they'd really depreciated. Now, what happened next was he was right about this, and his 5-minute candles just went up and up and up and up. You can see really nicely. Interestingly, my Algo Pro also showed a buy at the same time, so this would be something I didn't take this particular trade, but if this was me, I'd have my other technicals and in my case, it's Algo Pro. I'll leave a link to this review article on Algo Pro. It's really good. Helped me a lot with Nate Bear's trades, just to get that extra confidence in the trade. So when you see him averaging in here, you know you've got a nice low price now, and he thinks it's strengthening up, which it was, and Algo Pro is saying it's strengthening up, then that's probably a good time to average in. It's like a strategic point, right? And you can see that this was reversing. And so he waited till about 10 or 11 o'clock this morning and sold his position for 40% gain, despite the fact that it really hadn't moved that much. It's just his clever averaging in on time decay once he's decayed and taking advantage of this massive move up with the premium going up as well in the contracts. He got out of these for 40% gain. So you can see right here. He sold them, this was this morning, June 17th, which is today, at plus 40%. So, yeah, pretty good. So he said, nice, Ed, let's go. Booking profits here. And that's what he did. So that was the Burrell trade, which I thought was really cool because it really showed this averaging down working. And I think the contracts are still around $2. We can have a quick look. The 235, yeah, so $2 is on the ask. This was up at 220 earlier when you saw, up here. So it's still gone up quite a bit. So I'm really happy to see this trade working out again. This drop would have been pretty terrifying though. This would have been, a lot of your calls would have been vanishing here, the premium on the calls. So to see this move back up was really good. So you got to have a strong stomach, and you've got to stick to your guns if you're going to follow Nate's trades. Otherwise, you'll end up freaking out and selling for a loss, and then he averages in and gets out for a profit. So you got to follow the strategy, and that takes time and confidence. And it's one of the things that people talk about, and they say, hey, like, what separates professional and amateur traders is the professional traders continue making the same trades even after consecutive losses, maintain a long-term perspective, not swayed by short-term results. So most people give up on an alert service because they don't trust it anymore after a few losses, and then the guru goes on a winning streak, and then you end up with a completely skewed profit loss for the subscriber compared to the more professional trader, usually, or more experienced trader that's given the alerts. So it's definitely a little tip that they keep coming back to because it's really important. So yeah. The other one, let's have a look at the... There was another trade here. It wasn't nearly as fascinating. It was on HIMS. He just closed that one for... It was an overnight trade, so he got 30% on that. I'm not really going to show you this one just because it's kind of boring. It was overnight. You can look it up on the chart. So he played the 30-minute chart, possibly holding into next week. Of course, it went up significantly overnight, and he got 30% on that overnight as well. So sometimes they're overnight trades, and sometimes they're 2-week trades to the point where the contracts are nearly expiring, as in the Burrell calls. And sometimes they're, 1 day. So the quicker the better, right? Because you don't have to worry about theta decay where time just pulls those premiums down even if the stock moves in the right direction. So I much prefer the faster trades, right? And I'm sure you guys do as well. Anyway, that's all I've really got to say about the Nate Bear Profit Surge Trader. If you're on the fence about it, email me. I had a guy email me asking to jump on a call. I'm happy to do that with people if you want to talk to me on Skype or on Facebook or via calls or whatever. I'm happy to go through these trades with you and talk to you about my experience with the service. And you can also go to this page right here. It's in the description below, like I said, and check out the webinar that he did. You can check out the order page. This is a really low-cost service. It's only $179 for a whole year, so definitely check it out. It's well worth it. One of the best services out there by one of the best traders who turned 37,000 into millions of dollars in just a few short years. Alright guys, hopefully that's helpful, and I'll talk to you soon.